After today's game, Niclas Fullkrug did an interview with Sky Sports where he stated the obvious. He said we were shit, but he also called out his teammates. I'm pleased and concerned about this. Not the interview itself. I'm glad he did it. I'm pleased he said those things. I actually found it quite refreshing. But I'm concerned about what he said, the message that Fulkrug delivered to West Ham fans. And it's not like I've started becoming concerned. I've heard what Fulkrug said and gone, oh, I'm now concerned. The concern already existed. I've just got confirmation. Basically, I've got a German international telling me, you should be concerned. I'm telling you, you should be, because this isn't good enough. And that's why I'm pleased. We've got someone calling it out. We've got someone saying, no, this isn't acceptable. Now, you haven't seen it, go find it. It's on Sky Sports website. It's only 2 minutes long. It's a very honest and raw interview from Fulkrug, who is very angry and candid. But I've got a couple of quotes here from what Fulkrug said. It's a mindset problem. I'm very angry. Not disappointed, just angry. Usually it's the other way around, isn't it? I'm not angry, just disappointed. No, Fulkrug isn't disappointed. He's angry. After the goal, it was difficult to bring the boys to push up. We didn't have the ability or the motivation. Sorry, we were shit. I'm very angry. We don't try to play football. Half of the team wanted to score again, and the other half of the team just wanted to defend, and that's not the way it works. We have to find a way to have togetherness. The coach was clear what he wants, so we have to do it all. It's just my feelings today. I actually found that to be defensive of Graham Potter. I've got my critics of Graham Potter, of course I do, and they remain. But what Fulkrug's doing there, and we can't have it both ways. We can't say, oh, Fulkrug, that's very honest, but you're lying about Potter, aren't you? I think he's telling the truth about Potter. I think those feelings from Fulkrug are his 100% feelings and opinions. He wouldn't necessarily have loyalty towards Potter. It wasn't Potter that brought him here. It was Tim Steidten. He's gone. So for Fulkrug to basically say half of the team weren't doing what Graham Potter wants him to do, that's quite telling and quite alarming as well. Now, Graham Potter's spoken about, after the game, he said we've got to zoom out and sort of evaluate where we are. Potter's interview wasn't as juicy. Jared Bowen has done an interview, and he also said it's a mindset problem. So this word is being used by our captain and one of our most experienced players in the squad. Now, Fulkrug had this at Dortmund as well. He was very honest in interviews, and he ended up falling out with Terzic because of it, because Terzic didn't like it. Fulkrug, there was one game in particular, I can't recall who it was against, they got beat, and Fulkrug went on an interview and said, yeah, we deserve to lose. We weren't good enough. We deserve to get beaten. Terzic was like, whoa, hang on a minute. You can't say that. And that relationship wasn't great. Potter's going to have to deal with this. Potter's going to have to deal with Fulkrug. And when I say deal with him, I don't mean punish him. I mean put up with Fulkrug being very honest, because he's not going to change. And I enjoyed it. I appreciate it won't be for everyone. And some people think that type of conversation should remain behind closed doors. They've already tried that. It was revealed in The Athletic at the end of this week that they had a meeting as soon as Potter arrived, where it was a case of everybody has your shot, everyone has your turn, say what you got to say, what's gone wrong so far, get it off your chest. So they've already tried the behind closed door method. It's not working. And Fulkrug obviously feels that annoyed and angry, he's doing it publicly. I'm pleased for him. Because the worst feeling I get as a fan, or certainly one of the worst ones, is when I feel like the team don't try or certain players don't try. Losing, I'm a West Ham fan, I'm used to, I've seen relegations. I am quite confident I will see a couple more relegations in my lifetime, at least, as a West Ham fan. Touch wood, I'm here that long. Not to see the relegation, but to live a prolonged life. So losing is something I'm used to. But it's the manner of the defeat. So what I can't accept is when the players come off at full time, we've lost, and they don't look like they're arsed, and they've played 90 minutes where they don't look like they're that bothered. They haven't put in 100%. Leave it all on the pitch, and if we get beat, it's not the end of the world. And today especially, in the 38th minute today, there was a round of applause in the London Stadium for Dylan Tombides. And it was hard at that time when I was listening to it, and there was a break in play. We were defending a corner. But just as that applause started, we lost the ball, and Southampton broke, and we got back and we conceded a corner. But not everybody was busting a gut to get back. And I thought, the crowd is literally doing a minute's applause for a young lad who never had a chance. A young lad who had the world at his feet as a professional footballer, and he never had a chance. That kid didn't get to have a life because of that horrible disease. And then you've got players not giving 100% on the pitch, literally in that minute. And it's hard to stomach. It was hard to stomach. So when Fulkrug's calling it, I'm pleased. Now, the concern is that that's two players today calling it out, saying it's a mindset thing. And that brings into questions about character and about attitude. Edson Alvarez was left out today. And no one knew why. Edson Alvarez has taken to social media, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it's basically time will provide the answer or something. It's a very cryptic thing, but it certainly suggests he's not injured. He's just been left out of the squad for whatever reason. And you would have to suggest that there's been a disagreement with Graham Potter or something, because when you look at the bench we had today, which had Irving on it, which had Creswell and Scarles on it, there was room for Edson Alvarez. Edson Alvarez would have been a better option than one of those two on there. So there's things going on behind the scenes, I think. But Fulkrug was simply talking about what was going on the pitch. And I share his frustration. As a fan, I share his frustration. And actually, I'm quite pleased he's defended the coach, actually, because it would have been easy not to do that. But to basically say it's not his fault, it's that lot's fault, and point at some of his teammates. Now, he will know exactly who he is referring to. We don't know. And that's why I don't mind him doing this. I'd feel a bit uncomfortable if he started naming names. That's saying that guy were rubbish today, because it puts pressure on Potter to say, well, you got to drop them the next game, because I've just told everyone they weren't doing what they were supposed to. That part stays behind closed doors. But it's a situation. Let's use Newcastle. I've just watched Villa thump Newcastle. Bloody good game. Watch Villa thump Newcastle. As a Newcastle fan, I wouldn't want to see Trippier or Bruno or Lascelles on the camera tonight saying, oh, not good enough, calling out the team, because they've still got the Champions League football to play for. They're still in with a good chance of Champions League football. They can chalk it down to a bad day at the office and move on. We can't do that. We are 17th. We continue like this next season, we will get relegated. That's the circumstances. And I think if there's ever a set of circumstances where you call out this attitude, this lack of motivation. Fulkrug says ability. I disagree. I think we've got the ability. But the motivation, the desire, certainly, that's not there. Interesting, he said some of the players aren't doing what the coach wants them to. That's massive. So either the players don't understand, not all of them, but some of them. Fulkrug said half the team are doing what they're meant to, the other half aren't. So according to Fulkrug, half the players aren't doing what Potter's asking them to. So either they don't understand, so we've got a communication problem, or they don't want to. And then we've got an attitude problem, a desire issue. Neither are good. Neither is a good thing here. And I want to see a reaction. Why you can't name names. I don't want names to get called out individually in the public domain. But you can do that by benching certain players. You basically called out Edson Alvarez today. You haven't said anything verbally, but leaving him out and Edson Alvarez taking to social media, it's clear there's something going on there. So when we play Brighton next week, those that aren't doing your tactics, you've got to get them out of the team. You're much better off with 11 players who will do what you want them to do and give 100% than it is with 7 players out there that will do it and 4 players who they may be better than the alternatives, but they ain't doing what you want. They shouldn't be in the team. This is where Potter's now got to show a spine. And he can be spiky. We've seen it at other clubs as well as West Ham. I want to see a reaction from Potter now. He doesn't have to say anything publicly, but I want to see a reaction next weekend. Fulkrug, I wouldn't say he's giving him an out, But Fulkrug certainly helped him with that interview. And he's done what I would class as the role of a leader. And like I said, over in Germany, it didn't land well for Fulkrug. Terzic did not like it. But Potter now has to work with that. Whether he likes it or not, Fulkrug will do that. And if you don't like it, well, you're going to have to sell him in the summer. But you know what? As a West Ham fan, I like it. Because at last there's accountability. There's somebody stepping out and saying, this is not good enough. They are not good enough. Good. Because we know. He's not telling us anything we don't know. But what he is doing is just being honest with the fans. And for me, that goes a long, long way. I'll tell you what, before Fulkrug did that, before that came out in the public domain, in the comments of the review, people were saying Paqueta and Fulkrug, those are the two players that played well today. And there was some people say, well, the only players that tried out there were Paqueta, Fulkrug and Bowen. That was the other player that people were mentioning in terms of work rate and effort given. Ward-Prowse was the other player that people were generally mentioning. Not played well, gave 100%. That's telling. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. I wondered why I was getting a lot of messages during the Aston Villa Newcastle game. That's why. Anyway, I'm off. If you're around tomorrow morning, come join me. 9 a.m, we're live on YouTube. I'll be taking your comments in the live chat to see what you've got to say about Potter, about the game today, and about Niclas Fullkrug saying we were shit.